Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
She don't believe in shooting stars, but she believe in shoes and cars, wood floors in the new apartment. You are locked into hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. That is one of my favorite Kanye songs. Like, it encapsulates a lot, especially at the time when it came out. I was just joking about the opening. I believe in shooting stars a lot, actually. Shoes and stars too. Anyway, listen, we have a lot to talk about. We are definitely going to get into Kanye and his comments because I think that they're gonna rock hip hop a little bit. You know, Kanye's always ruffling feathers, but we still have Deandra LaBeouf on the line. I want her to finish up her thoughts on the Canelo Charlo fight. I mean, it was a nice little paycheck. Do you think, though, Deandra, what I wanted to ask you, do you think like that moment with his brother ruffled him in any way, or was that just like, you know, a little stage thing? Because he seemed like, I was like, is he going to ignore him?
Well, you know, they've got a lot of Cain and Abel antics going on between the two of them. During the fight weekend in Vegas recently, during the Spence Crawford weekend, their wives were out there being the opening fight to the card. They were fighting each other. A mess. You know, they've been out on the outs for a while, for a long time. They have the same trainer. They were training with the gentleman named Ronnie Shields, but Jermell left and went over to his trainer, Derek James, separate homes, separate residences. They used to do their cards together as a twin billing type of thing. But I think that Jermell just got tired ultimately of being called Little Charlo.
Okay.
And the only reason why he was called that because he fought at a smaller weight class. They were never going to fight each other, so somebody had to move up. So Jamal did, and Jamal was steamrolling through people, so he became Big Charlo. And I think inevitably with any siblings, there's some kind of sibling. There's ultimately going to be some type of sibling rivalry, particularly when you're both highly evolved, unless you're the Kelsey brothers, who seem to have it down pat. But, yeah, the Charlo brothers had been completely on the outs up until this. Allegedly, here's some tea.
Okay.
Allegedly, during the Crawford Spence weekend, I can't confirm or deny, but a little birdie told me there was some cross words between the two brothers, and one of the brothers told the younger brother that he hoped he got knocked out.
Oh.
So they've been having some issues. I can't confirm or not. You know, Birdie put that in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they've been having a rough time, a rough go with each other. Hopefully after this now they can mend and come back together because nobody wins when the family
feuds. I know that's right. Well, Deandra, I thank you as always for calling in. You know, listen.
I love it. I got to get back over there.
I'm saying, when are you coming through? Because we need to have you blazing on all the topics, you know.
Oh, I'm going to come. You know what? I'm going to come back this week because this is a good week for me. I'm coming through this week. So Wednesday or Thursday, y'all.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it because, you know, listen, I have some topics on deck. And, you know, I always pull special ones when the friends are coming through to make sure that we get good conversation on timely situations.
T.O. get a therapist. That's all I'm going to say. Get a therapist.
I think
stop blaming black women for everything.
You know, shout out to Terrell. Thank you, Deandra. We will see you in studio this week.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time.
Absolutely. So listen, before we came forward, there were some comments in the chat that I wanted to get through to. I wanted to make sure that they were addressed. Geechee Dan says, that's like saying a 20-year-old KKK member is all of a sudden gonna now love black folks. Listen, people can change. Different circumstances can take a hold of them. I don't know. I'm not going to say people can't. I'm not going to put that on them, but this is just what happened at the time. People grow all the time. Pretty Brown Mimi says, some men don't give women a chance if we're not so-called fine enough. Speak on it, Jill. I mean, that's true. Do you know what I'm saying? Listen, we've had a lot of conversations over the past week about women needing to be realistic. Why is it that men who are perhaps not where they want to be, maybe not together. He admitted that his teeth weren't quite right. He was a little ashy. So men can have a glow up too. Maybe he was going for the prom queen. But men think, I feel like what we hear a lot of times from the conversation is that because I'm a good guy, in quotes, whatever that means, I should be given the opportunity. But women are not allowed to think because I'm a good woman, I should be given that same opportunity. I'm just saying. It's just an observation. Hit me, Andy.
I don't even know where to start. I had somewhere I was gonna go, and then you said what you just said, and it just threw me off. I don't think there was anything. I don't get the diss on black women based off of his comments. Once again, I think he was just sharing his experience, and I mean, what you heard was growth. But I mean, you got the tea, Jill. So you probably know him on another level. 100.
I mean, here's the thing. We are not close friends. We are not buddies. As I said, I had some friends that dated him at different time periods. So, just had some adventures and what have you. But I know that during this time frame, and again, there's growth, his thoughts and some of his beliefs surrounding black women were not kind. And these aren't the same women that were in Alabama dissing you. Not even the ones that were dissing you at college. And if every black woman took that approach, and some might say that they are now, then, it would be bad. It would be bad. It would be daggers and arrows at everybody. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's all my point is. It's like, I'm not invalidating his experience in any way, shape, or form. I do believe it happened, and I do believe it hurt him. I think that sometimes we don't allow men to talk about their feelings and things that touch them in a different way. We don't allow them a space to be vulnerable. I think that is a shame. And I'm not advocating for that. But I am saying, be clear, you then inflicted that same trauma back on some women simply because they were black. When we come forward, we'll get into more of this topic. We'll also get into Kanye West and his comments. We are going to talk about NBA training camp because it's media day. And I got to talk about Jimmy Butler and LeBron James. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent scent. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Jill Munroe. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, we've talked about T.O. And again, men should have a space to be vulnerable. I was happy that he had that conversation with Chad, who is someone who can make sure that the conversation happens, throw in enough humor to keep it light and keep T.O. comfortable, but still be sensitive to the things that he was saying. So shout out to Chad Ochocinco Johnson. That's my dog. We like that. Andy?
I know, certain people have issues with comments being made and feeling like you're being told to settle. But I guess the question that I have is, considering T.O.'s experience, knowing what it is that he wanted, and honestly, I don't know what his high school said. Part of me feels like I want to know whether if he was like a virgin all the way until college, because there's a part of me that feels like, he probably had a situation with some black women regardless. But anyways, the fact that
Talk
he
to me off air.
the fact that he dated white women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you say maybe that was a form of him settling? Because it sounded like he wanted, or at the time wanted a black woman, but that trauma, that pain hurt so much to where, he did maybe have a healthy hatred towards black women. Not saying that it's okay. We get it.
I mean, again, I believe that he did, and I am not discounting what happened to him and why, but I'm just saying heal, my brother. Even
to this day, you think so?
I don't know about today in 2023, but I will say 13 years ago,
2010.
I feel like he's still, that's probably the last time it was in Vegas, and my friend wasn't dating him at the time, but we were all just hanging out or whatever, and I just, he has certain feelings and ideas, at least he did at the time. They could be gone now, whatever. It's just certain things that were expressed, certain thoughts, and again, that is your prerogative, but it's not every black woman's fault, and they don't necessarily fit into that. And so heal, if you want the women to heal. If you're going to date black women anyway, don't do it to dog them out. Do it because you really want to try and build something, or just stay over here with the white women that you feel treated you better, or at least didn't inflict that trauma.
I definitely hope that he finds what it is that he's looking for. I do also find it interesting that, and maybe this is dots that probably don't need to be connected, but a couple weeks ago, he went in on Stephen A. Smith, basically. My bad. That was actually Marcellus Wiley who brought out the fact that what I'm saying. Stephen A. might be insecure about his blackness or whatnot. So it's just interesting that T.O. a couple weeks later, in what I'm sure is a vulnerable moment, he's expressing his insecurity and how that has to deal with race too. It's just kind of interesting. It just makes me think like, man, T.O. and Stephen A., y'all need to just go ahead and just chop it up.
They probably do. They probably, in some weird way, share a lot of the same
things. What are you insinuating now?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying, no. Stephen A. might have had, listen. They might need to talk and just be friends.
What were you gonna say, Jill? Don't monitor yourself now. Go
no,
ahead and say.
No, it's not that I'm monitoring. The thoughts aren't coming together in the way that I want them to, so it might not make sense. So I will hold on to it, and if it comes together in my mind correctly, where I'm not sounding like I'm babbling, then I'll bring it out. If not, we'll put a pin in it. I do have some Stephen A. topics for later in the week, so maybe we'll, recircle back to it then. So listen, I mentioned that today is Media Day, an important day for me. First of all, Jimmy Butler is a troll. Let's just start with that. Jimmy Butler is a troll. Was it last year we had the fake dreads and the extensions? This year we had a fresh silk press. It was not really silk though. I want to know who he paid to do it. They needed to trim those ends up and give him a deep conditioner because it was not shiny and bouncy. Talk to Quick. Quick did repost something of it. It wasn't flowing like Quick's does. There were comparisons to an 80s artist named Jermaine Stewart. I personally love Jermaine Stewart. His first single was The Word Is Out. Google Jermaine Stewart if you don't know who he is. There's a lot more to that. Maybe one day we'll get into it. Jermaine sadly passed away years ago. But he had a silk flat press, whatever we called it. We just called it a press back in the 80s, and that's what he had. But his was bouncing and behaving and shiny, and Jimmy's, unfortunately, is not. But I want everybody to respect the fact that Jimmy is using this as his media picture, and every time you post a picture of Jimmy Butler, I want you to look at the bang and, remember that. He's such a troll. It was hilarious, though. Speaking of course, the Lakers had their media day today. LeBron, in addition to saying, he might be playing in Paris next summer. He said all he would have to do wouldn't be too much work, rebound, pass, a couple of little things here and there. He also spoke about the condition of his son, Bronny, whose birthday is coming up. Bronny will be 19 soon. So he mentioned that Bronny had a successful surgery and is working on his official comeback. So this is the first time that we've heard that Bronny had surgery. He didn't get into what type of procedure it was or what happened. He just said that it's definitely a whirlwind and a lot of emotions for our family this summer. But the best thing is that we have each other. So don't know if we're going to see Bronny on the court this season at USC. And I don't know if I want to. I just want to make sure that he's okay because it's very scary. It's also kind of interesting that both he's and Shaq's son have, had these heart issues, like legendary Lakers, their children. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. So listen, all shouts out to Bronny. We hope to see him at USC. Bryce is starting a new school this year, so we'll be keeping up with him. And word on the curb is that Zuri's playing volleyball, so I'm sure we'll see more from her soon. Okay. Let's talk about your guy, Kanye West. So listen, Kanye is always saying controversial stuff. We know he will tweet it. He will reactivate his Twitter, his Instagram, whatever. And apparently in 2010, Kanye was working on a documentary and he had a camera crew following him around. And somehow this footage is being leaked. Don't know why. Don't know, the purpose behind it, because there obviously is some. And in it, Kanye is expressing how he believes that Cardi B is a plant, an industry plant. What he thinks, or rather who he thinks she was sent to replace. He also talks about his good music artists not being good enough, that he wants to be great and they're just good. And he talks about the material that he has given them that is wasted. So let's get into Kanye's egotistical rant. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what he had to say and where we think this will end up at in 2023.
That's not some paranoid.
Corey said he was part of the CIA at one point? Or am I making that up?
Yes, Corey CIA. Like, he didn't even have to say it. I know it. You CIA. What are you talking about? Like, what the oh, this is my godmother. This is my this. These Illuminati. That's why Cardi B was over there. Cardi B is a plant by the Illuminati. She don't write her raps. She's just there to like sound as ignorant as possible, and then make songs like him and then get some money. Yeah. She was literally replaced, Nicki Minaj purposely. That they put her there, and now she doesn't know what to do, and she's just she has no idea what the is going on. She thinks it's just a blessing from the universe. Ain't no blessing from the universe.
So listen, Cardi said that she's forgiven him, but sometimes I wonder if Kanye isn't being Kanye the performance artist, even in these moments where it is supposed to be raw and untouched. There's also a video of him talking about how upset he is that Kim, his wife at the time, calls him crazy and doesn't call him a genius, and how it impacted him. And then, there is this other video. Yeah.
It ain't gonna be in this situation. It's gonna be a get me out this good music now. And Scooter ain't gonna be no, I'm still putting my name on it. I need to get rid of good music because I'm great. And guess what? Good is the enemy of great. The I'm doing giving Wanna Love You to Teyana. What the I'm doing giving that Daytona album to Pusha? What the I'm doing, bro? That that was 3 Dark Fantasies that I gave away. Cop shot the kid, Nas rapping all off beat on it. Don't even want to shoot a video. They shoot the video, don't even tell me. These don't appreciate me. All these trying to use me. I'm the greatest artist living, and I can do everything, and I'm not being expanded, and my vision is not being expanded to what it is. I'm performing at other people's festivals and I've been one of the festival. People not touring my people saying I'm locked in a pub shit. I've been recouped.
Listen.
These made fake black skinheads. I got the fake black skinhead. Marty Van.
Listen, we saw some evidence of Kanye's festival, like, when he started touring with, what is it? The Sunday, not Secret Sundays, that's the strip club. Sunday service. When he started having that, I think he was leading up to something. Kanye's an egomaniac. And all I heard there was me, 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 me. And it's not going my way. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. But do you feel like he has a point about Cardi? Do you feel like any of this is going to impact people working with Ye when he's on the right side? And also, has it ever been discussed? I know this is going to sound random. Do we think Kanye might have CTE? I mean, he did have a traumatic accident, I just wonder.
I think Kanye is just a troll, like a knowing troll. Like he's very smart. He talks about how he's a genius. And I'm going to go ahead and say that he's a genius musically, but I think that he's very much so a troll. He knows exactly what it is that he's doing. It may seem like he's, off the ringer.
It's provocative. It gets the people going.
That's what it is. He talks about how Cardi B is an industry plant. How does he know?
I mean, because this is the thing. Like, I feel like, and he's done this in some of his rants, he takes, to me, talking points from social media and weaves them into these rants and conversations so that the average person is like, yeah, you're right, Kanye. And, you know, I don't think this about all conspiracy theories. I think that it's healthy that you believe in at least one conspiracy theory. If you don't believe in any, I'm going to have some questions about you. But I do think that Kanye purposely plays on what is known as the general consensus has always been sort of, and do with this what you will, people that believe in conspiracy theories are generally lower educated, not as smart, you know, and looking for excuses to explain away why they aren't succeeding in life or aren't further or whatever. And you can see that in some cases. But like I said, if you don't believe in any conspiracies, something's wrong with you, because these people play in our face all day. However, I agree with you, Andy. I think that Kanye does things to be manipulative, to shift the conversation in ways that he wants to. He has his ear, too, to what's going on social media. So he knows the things that the fans are saying or implying, and he'll throw that out there to get them on his side. And, you know, Forensic Accountant says Kanye is like Charleston White, polarizing. Pretty Brown Mimi says Kanye West is at least 45 years old. He sounds like a narcissist. I hope he seeks therapy for real. I mean, he has, but does that matter? Does he really want to? I think that he does have some issues, but I also think that a lot of this is done on purpose to push things in a way that he wants them to get attention if it's waning off of him. So I asked about the leak because who leaked it and why? I feel like it might have been him. I don't know. Andy?
I mean, it's funny too, because everybody loved Kanye when he blurted out how George Bush doesn't like black people. But of course, you know, when he's critical of us, you know, it's a problem. But to Forensic Accountant's comment about Charleston White being polarizing, that man Charleston White makes Kanye look like a little baby with some of his comments. I don't know if you're familiar with Charleston White.
Oh, I'm familiar with Charleston White.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's another individual that's...
Listen, I just catch his clips. I don't really know what his whole format is or the whole thing. I've just seen some of his clips here and there. I saw Brittany Renner turning it up and shaking it on him. Didn't quite understand that. You know, and I've seen him like pull out and pull up on people through various points. When we come forward, we will get more into these trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk Keefe D and Suge Knight, what Suge Knight says he would do if he's approached about anything about this Tupac case and arrest. We'll also talk about Floyd Mayweather and him reminding everyone why he is the greatest boxer of all time. And we'll get into a couple of other things. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
I know it's been a while, sweetheart, we hardly talk, I was doing my thing. I know what was fair, baby, hey, babe, lately, you've been all on my brain. And if somebody would have told me a month ago...
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Portland, Oregon man who was accused of making racial threats against two women in his Gresham apartment complex has been indicted on 33 charges. Ring camera video shows 19-year-old Dominic Austin armed with a knife and threatening to rape and kill the victims. Millions of Americans are facing student loan payments again. The requirement officially went back into effect on Sunday after an over 3-year pause during the COVID pandemic. The Supreme Court blocked a policy in June that would have forgiven $20,000 in student loan debt for many borrowers. Mariah Carey will head out on tour this holiday season. The singer announced the Merry Christmas One and All tour will visit 13 cities. Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is the top-selling holiday song by a female artist in history. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com. Make it a great and safe Monday.
make home more comfortable, make your business run better, and make California just a little greener in the process. Plan your energy efficiency upgrade. Find qualified contractors and attractive rates at GoGreenFinancing.com.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talent, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the Evan-On, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer, and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Cold world. Southside, can't get enough, can't get enough. East side, west side, worldwide. Ride out. Nah, I ain't got no kids yet, but this right here's for practice. I hate to get the seats in the bins wet, but that's how good your air is. Make an old man get his glasses, make Wesley pay his taxes, then follow your moves all week on Twitter. Probably make it reconsider.
Shout out to J. Cole. Welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you are enjoying your Monday night. In case you're new here, this is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I am, of course, your host, Jill Munroe. Now listen, it's a lot of commentary in the chat, and I'm going to get to it. But if you want to call in, you have something that you want to add to the conversation, feel free, 800-920-1580. Just want to throw that out there. Now, we were talking about Terrell Owens and his experience growing up. We were talking about Kanye and if he's just being a troll and manipulative. We're going with that Kanye is really just using his mental illness in some ways. Again, I'm not saying that he does not have issues. I'm not saying he doesn't have issues that require therapy, perhaps medication. But I do believe that he definitely plays on that aspect of his personality and uses it to push out certain points to help manipulate conversations, situations for his benefit. That's just what I think. Richard Moore in the chat says, when I say black people don't like each other, it's too much jealousy and we pin it on light skin versus dark skin. I can agree with that. What else is going on here in the chat? Andy?
I think it's definitely more than just light skin, dark skin, but I agree. We have issues and we need to talk it out. But back to Kanye. Tyrese is kind of going through something similar too. Is it really the prescription drugs that's talking?
I don't think so. So again, full disclosure. So I've come across Tyrese. I know Tyrese is good friends with some friends and family members of mine. Really good friends for a very, very long time and stuff like that. And so do these issues probably exasperate personalities? Absolutely. But do you also know that, hey, I can go a little bit further because I told y'all I got some issues that I'm still learning to control. And we are forgiving people, as we should be, because we are all growing, changing, evolving, right? When I say that, I'm saying everybody wants to be given the benefit of the doubt. Everybody wants the room to grow and change. So I'm not saying that they should be given special privilege. I'm just saying overall, I think in this current era, we are so quick to judge people for going through things or for making one mistake 25 years ago or 10 years ago. People grow. They're going to mess up and they're going to learn from them and hopefully evolve and change. That would be the idea. We weren't put here with perfect knowledge. So I give grace to that. But I do think that it becomes apparent with certain people, and Tyrese is one of them. Hello, why are you suing Teddy Pendergrass's widow? We're going to talk about that later. But come on, dog. Like, some of the things that you do are too much, and you know it. And it's so easy to say, but I'm sick. So, I don't know. Andy?
Nah, just, got me even thinking about, criminals who may have mental issues sometimes. It's unfortunate that sometimes, the police or whoever's, monitoring a certain situation, they they act, according to, the circumstances that's going on. But, if they had that little bit of knowledge that, this person is a little bit, not mentally stable, you know what I'm saying, we would give grace under those circumstances. So
I feel like, yeah,
ideally,
you still got to be held accountable.
Regardless.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand. I do. I'm not taking anything away from that, but you still got to move through this earth and coexist with people. And once you realize, hey, I have issues with this, I'm learning to maintain this, and I may struggle with it, it is still your job to try and keep it in check, keep it under wraps, or find the balance where you can express yourself without, offending, hurting others in certain given situations. I don't know. So, of course, we're going to hear more from this. I feel like it was said that Kanye is dropping a single with somebody too, or something. There's new music coming. So I don't know. The timeliness of it just seems interesting to me.
See, that's my angle right there. Are you calling it a conspiracy, or this is all just publicity for the single that's about to drop?
I think that we learned also to use things that were sent for our harm for good at times. I don't believe that this leak is random. But I also think that if you have, and I don't know if he has good PR people still in his corner because he burned a lot of bridges, but there's a spin for everything, and people will spin like a 45 in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So, look. Pretty Brown Mimi says, I'm so glad you said it. Why is Tyrese suing Teddy Pendergrass's widow? That's problematic for sure. We'll get into it. We'll get into it in a little bit. Tyrese is Tyrese. Kanye is Kanye. And I think a lot of people take advantage of, the sensitivity that mental illness, people struggling with, mental disorders, we're more sensitive. Because back in the day, people would just be like, oh, you crazy, and write you off. But now we're taught to care and to understand that it's not necessarily all their fault. So I think it gives them more cachet, more opening, a little more room to do what they have to do. Oh, side note, and I can't remember, it might have been in the first conversation. Someone wanted to know about T.O.'s baby's moms. 2 white, 1 black. And he's had issues as far as child support and the cost and the care, whatever. But that didn't stop him from wanting to date white women. He's not holding that against the other white women in the world because his 2 white baby mamas were after the coin. So I don't know. Just putting that out there. Just some facts, Andy, what's the face for, Andy?
I'm laughing because I swear, man, these thoughts be popping up in my head, right? So you know how there's a stereotype behind pastors' kids, right? Mm-hmm. And how wild they become because of the suppression that they, experience through their parents.
Yep.
It got me thinking that, I think I'm speaking very much so in general, or for that black man that tends to, go over and to dip in the milk or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It has me thinking, like, could it possibly be that we grow up in households that pushes forward the black family, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to bring a sister up here. I want you to bring a brother in this house, right? You hear that all the time. Could that kind of somewhat be a form of suppression, right? And then when you finally go out in the world and you realize, like, man, I kind of like this milk over here. Is that possible?
Of course it is. Like, I will say this. I think that a lot of reason why you see a lot of athletes with white women, at least back in the day, was because they would go off to these colleges, where the the population of the college is predominantly white. They've never been in these type of situations before. So they are, it's all new. It's all fresh. It's all exciting. And let's be honest, there are some ways in which white families, white women approach certain situations and conversations that is different from the way a black family would. And sometimes that can be refreshing or just flat out different. And it can, spark a different thing in you. You are exposed to more, so you are open to more. That is not lost on me. And I don't have an issue with it. When I have an issue with this, we obviously know if you're lifting up white women to down black women, that's a problem.
I'm with you on that.
But you're allowed to date who you want and you're allowed to open, but don't be mean to black women because you have issues with your mom and what she did. Terrell also has some issues with his mom. His dad lived across the street and he didn't know, and his mom was the mistress. There's a lot there to unpack. So I feel like there's a lot that is going into it, that is layering into it. And it's more than just, this black girl didn't like me and she was talking mess about me, because we all have that. And let me tell you, like I said, there's a lot of black women that should feel the exact same way, and they don't. They want black men still, even in the face of how they were treated. So
we out here.
I think that's important. Not you taking, but it's some out here somewhere, something. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We'll get into what Suge Knight said about this arrest in the Tupac murder. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, Get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination. Learn about union apprenticeship programs or sign on to a trade registry. Please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, Suge Knight, right? He got on a call from jail because obviously we know over the week, was it last Thursday night, Friday morning, Keefe D, who is the uncle to Orlando, what is Orlando's last name? Anderson, yep. Orlando Anderson. Those two and another gentleman, I believe his name was Dre, were in a vehicle that pulled up next to Suge Knight and Tupac, September 8th, 1996. And we know what happened after that. 5 days later, Pac lost his life. So Keefe D has been, doing interviews for years, saying he was in the car, saying somebody shot at the BMW, saying he locked eyes with Suge Knight, all of these things. And, he was finally arrested. There is some type of evidence, we believe, that ties him to the case. There were several magazines, shell casings, etc., that were removed from his home in July. He's been doing a lot of talking and so forth, implicating others. Well, Suge says that if he is called to testify from either side, the prosecution or the defense, he has nothing to say. Furthermore, he said that he doesn't really have a problem with Keefe D. And lastly, he says that he knows who shot Tupac. He's not saying, but it wasn't Orlando Anderson. And what I say to Suge is, please stop, Sugar Bear. Come on, Suge. You are in jail right now. Obviously, you are not Suge Knight of the 90s and 2000s. Oh, how the mighty has fallen. If you know who shot Tupac and you haven't done anything about it, but you're not going to testify or share that information, what is the point? What is the point in 2023? What is the point in going off on the tangent about the Keefe D guy? Makes me feel like, is Suge good in there? Are there some people hemming him up? They have jailhouse gangs. I don't know. It just seems like an interesting position to take, a position that he didn't have to take. Of course, people are going to want to know his thoughts about it. But this man has been adamant. I was in the car, There, he said various versions of his story. By this man, I'm talking about Keefe D. Over the time period, but the basics, the crux of his story has not changed. Driving down Las Vegas Boulevard, was it the Boulevard or Tropic? Whatever, the Strip. Saw Pac hanging out the window talking to some girls. They busted that pulled up on the side in the sweeper lane, and that was that. So we'll have to see what transpires from the situation. Obviously, we have seen, Jada come out and say that she hopes justice is served. People are mad. Why shouldn't she say anything? That was her friend. And Pac is a friend to us all. Set, his sister, Setua, has come out and spoken. She's taking a wait-and-see approach because we got to wait and see. We don't know what they're charging him with. We don't know what type of evidence is there. And we don't know what position he's going to take other than saying, Puffy better holla at him. That's a conversation for another day. All right. We said that we would discuss. Ben Frank in the chat says Rampart scandal is a clue. I mean, listen. What is the guy's name? Reggie, the cop that, is involved. He's involved in like some of the Biggie stuff. Reggie Wainwright, is that it? Might be wrong with that. There's definitely some, in my opinion, in my unprofessional opinion, Reggie, okay, so I said Wainwright. I was close. Reggie Wright. Who's Reggie Wainwright? I have no idea. I definitely believe that there is some type of police corruption involved in these cases. Don't know how deep, don't know how much, don't know what's true or false, but definitely has to be.
Conspiracy. As I said, I don't believe in all of them, but if you don't believe in any, I'm going to look at you sideways. I'm going to have some questions. Shout out to Forensic Accountant. He also dropped Reggie's last name in the chat. We appreciate that. Okay, listen. So Tyrese. This is what's going on with Tyrese and why Tyrese is attempting to sue Teddy Pendergrass's widow, Joan. So Tyrese's Voltron Entertainment is suing Joan for at least $1 million in damages over abandoning the rights to Teddy Pendergrass' life story. Tyrese has maintained that before Teddy died, they developed a relationship. Teddy gave him the life rights, said, I only want to see you play me. You can do it justice. According to the lawsuit, Tyrese invested about $450,000 into the biopic. Lee Daniels was attached to direct at one point. And so, he also says Teddy was his mother's favorite singer who passed away recently. So he wants to make sure it happens and whatever. Here is the thing when you sign someone's life rights. Generally speaking, right? I obviously don't know the details of what is going on with this. But generally speaking, when you sign the life rights to someone for a film or a TV show or biopic, you have a certain amount of time to gain financing before those rights revert back or whatever. I think that has been the case with Tyrese, is that they've been unable to secure financing. I don't know if suing his wife is the best way to get these things made. I understand you're passionate about it. You think that this is the role you were born to play. This is, maybe your Will Smith's Ali or something like that. But it's got to be a better way, Tyrese. It's really, really, really have to be. And that's my thought on that topic. Pretty Brown Mimi, I hope that answers your question. Ben Frank in the chat says, yes, Reggie Wright Jr. was smashing Shug's ex-wife at the time. Is that Sharitha? Whatever. Shug was out there in those streets, though, too. Anyway, that's a random thing. Ben Frank also says it was a hit on both Shug and Pac. Listen, the street ties to this case go so deep. Biggie, too, will probably never have the full story. But at the very least, Shug, you don't got to be in there getting in the mix, causing disarray, and you don't want to help. It's not going to help you. But as someone else said in the chat, hey, maybe if they can work out a deal to get him out of jail, maybe he'll have more to say. When we come forward in hour 3, we're going to get into Tamar Braxton, her relationship breakup, and the reasons why. Do you think it's fair? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about another divorce happening in Hollywood, because 'tis the seasons for divorce. And we're going to talk about what the car is, the top 10 cars that millionaires buy. The list isn't what you expect. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP Biopic. I say biopic because biopic or biopic, they're both made up words. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is up next.
Almost missed my flight, trying to get my last look. Alright, she be down for whatever. Whenever I want to get up in the guts. Alright, never fuss or fight. On the ground trying to find this lead ace. I love it when you give me, I hate it when you give me headaches.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Portland, Oregon man who was accused